Well, good evening and welcome to All About the Valley. And you can see what we're here tonight to talk about, Blackstone Valley Emergency Shelter. And my guest is Leslie, and Leslie runs the shelter.
Well, I guess you call me the founder. I'm the founder of the shelter. I do not run it anymore. We've got a great team of people running it, so
Yes.
it's really amazing.
We were talking, we did a radio show a little while ago.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many people are hurting right now in the valley.
Yeah, we talked about the numbers a little bit. Numbers aren't really fancy or fun to talk about, but we had 21 days in December where we were open, and we helped 159 people in the shelter.
That was just in December.
That was just December, yeah. January is going to be probably that much or more. And then February, I don't think we've been closed once since we turned over.
No, we got this cold wave. Can you
It's
imagine
it's
being
still
out?
coming. Oh my gosh.
I know.
Yeah.
I can't stand walking out to my car. And people being stuck out there.
Well, and I have to be very careful because I hear people being like, "Oh, it's so cold. I had to walk to my car," and it's like, how would you like to live in your car?
Yes.
And like we were talking about, so the lady that I was working with today is living out of her car, and just has no way to keep warm because she can't afford the gasoline to keep it running. So it's not like she's warm in her car.
Right. I mean, she needs a car to bring the kids to school.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you got to get around a little bit.
Yeah.
So you can't just sit there and idle it.
No. So fortunately, there are some people that do have a car, which is a good thing, right? And they're able to keep the car and get the insurance and do that. We've got a few people that are in the shelter system that have a car, and that's really wonderful for them. So they can try and get jobs. And
Right
things like
there is
that.
an expense, big expense right there is a car.
The car, the insurance,
Yeah.
that was one of the gentlemen that we were working with last week has found a room, which was really, I mean, yay, we found a room, right? It was down in Uxbridge, but he's like, I don't know if I can do the room for $900 and the car insurance plus gas, because he works, but he doesn't work a big fancy job. He's,
Right.
So it was really frustrating for him to try and figure out, like, how am I going to do this and eat? You know?
Yes, yeah, you still got to eat.
You still got to eat, so.
And you have other expenses. You have incidentals that you need.
Yeah, they don't have very many incidentals. We really try and support them with little things, like we talked about, the clothing and,
Yeah.
if
Toothpaste and
yeah.
just a soap to wash up and bathe, and it's not just food.
Well, like we said, you go to your grocery store and you hand them the $100 and say, "There's my, that's what I've got to spend, because
Yeah.
I walked through the door." But the shelter system we've been in existence. This is our 9th season, and we're a 501c3, so we're a nonprofit.
So if you make a donation to them, it's tax deductible.
You're a good salesman. Thank you
Yes,
so much.
and you can always use tax deductions.
Well, and so, and we have incredible support from the community. We're doing really well. We've got lots of new volunteers who've come forward. As we were saying, though, this season is so different from any other we've experienced because.
Well, we've had mild winters.
Well, mild winters, but we're also seeing families. Like, I have a young family with a 2-month-old that was in the shelter, living out of their car. We're talking friends and neighbors. We're not talking somebody who's, an immigrant. Bad situation just happened upon them.
Did she go to the hospital to deliver the baby?
Yeah, and then they got discharged. So that's the sad part.
Do they have a hospital bill now?
Oh, we haven't even broached that. That's outside
That's
of
what I
us.
mean.
But,
It's not that simple.
No, it's not simple, but they were lucky enough to get, into our system. We were able to put them into our pilot program. So the new thing about our shelter is we have this pilot program that we're doing. Unibank is supporting us in that, which was fabulous.
Oh,
And then
Unibank's great.
Unibank's great. I love Unibank. And then we were able to get a grant from the Chenal 6, which is out of the Milford Hospital System, for case management. So what we want to prove to people is that if we can get them into a stable situation, off of the shelter system, like, it's really nice to be able to get out of the cold, get a cot, warm
Yes.
up, but you're still in survival mode. right? You still have to go out in the cold at 7 o'clock and figure things out until the next time you can get into the warmth. But if you're in a stable situation where you have a place where you know you're going to stay and you're willing to go get a job and work at things, you can actually get yourself out. And once you get out of survival mode, you can start thinking and working on how I'm going to do that. So that's our pilot program, is to actually show that if we can take somebody who has the initiative out of that survival mode and get them into a stable situation with a little case management and a little direction, it won't take long for them to get out of that situation.
Well, the thing is too, once they get into a new job and they're stable, they might do well there and even advance.
Right, right. And so we had, like, the family with the young baby. They had a support system where people were willing to support them to get into an apartment. So we got them stable, got them a safe, quiet place for them to be long-term, not long-term, but longer term. I think within weeks, we were able to get them into an apartment. So it didn't take long once they were able to, figure out what they needed to do and figure that all out, so.
But the price of apartments has just gone through the roof.
The price and the fact that there aren't that many.
And there aren't that many available, no.
There's not a lot to choose from. They did all that work. The wife of that family, she was driven to get out of that situation, and she did it. And that's what I mean. If you have somebody that's really driven and wants to get out of it, it can be done. They just need that quiet, stable place to sit down and be like, okay, how do I do this? And they worked with their community health support that's from Whitensville, where they worked with our homelessness navigator. They got everything they needed to get in line, everything from, IDs and things like that straightened out. And then
Yes.
we're able to get the apartment. So that's a success story for us. Good job. That's what we say.
But one of
Good
the
job.
biggest handicaps of getting an apartment is the fact you gotta put a big deposit down.
Yeah, huge. First, last, and sometimes security. So it can be,
Yeah.
if it's a $1,500, it could be $4,500 you
Yeah,
gotta
that's
come up
pretty
with.
bit of money to come up with. I mean, you talk to someone, just the average person, tell them you could come up with $4,500 to fix your car, and they say, oh my God, I can't do it.
Can't do it, right? And so that's why I said they had the support from an employer that was really supportive of them. He knew that they were good for it, and he wanted to help them. And so did a lot of the people in the town. We had a lot of support. We had a volunteer that helped us by, donating enough money that we could put them into a stable, safe situation. Yeah.
But a lot of generous people in the valley.
Oh, there are
aren't there?
times. I love this place. I mean, like we were talking about, they don't, there's not an aversion to helping somebody who's in a bad situation.
Right,
So-
we don't hear about it because they don't brag about it.
No, they're just really quiet givers.
Yes.
They're very Christian in the way they give.
And of course, fortunately, you got a great deal going with Father Tomas.
Yes, well, he's another angel.
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you that story before, but when we went last year, so I had two gentlemen who were really, they're angels too. I have a lot of angels that I work with. But we were using the Red Roof Inn during COVID, because
Yes.
we could not use a church. And that was very expensive. I mean, $100 a night or $75 or whatever it is. And so it was working. And these two guys came to me and said, we need to reopen the shelter the way it used to be. And I thought, oh, gosh, that's so much work. I mean, it's a lot of work. Back then, we needed 6 volunteers for one night, and the shifts
Yep.
and trying to find people, and it's a lot of work. And I told him, I said, that's a lot of work. And where I am between my job and doing the shelter the way it was working, I said, I don't have the manpower or the brain power to do that right now. And they said, no, we'll do it. And they did. And so they said, let's go down and start with St. Pat's Parish and see what they say about starting the shelter back up. So we had a meeting with Father Tomas, and we sat down in what is now the shelter downstairs in their rec area. And we just said, Father Tomas, what do you think? And he said, I think you could do it every night here. And I thought, wow, the way the system used to work, we used to go from church to church to church every night. And he's like, no, he said, if you didn't open until 9 o'clock, nobody's there, and you could be down here every night until 7 in the morning. And we thought, oh my gosh, that'd be fabulous. And I said, what do we have to do? Like, what do you think? And he just looked at me, he goes, well, what do you think Jesus would do? And I'm like, I think that's a yes. And so they started it last season. We were open, we were able to be there any night that we needed to be open, starting at 9 in the morning. And then at 7 o'clock, we clean everything up and put everything away, and they use it for whatever, you know, the youth programs or the
Yes.
quilting program or whatever, Boy Scouts. And then we come back in at 9 o'clock and turn it back into a shelter system, so.
Amazing.
Yeah, St. Pat's gets a gold star. So does St. Peter's. They're very supportive of our homelessness navigator, which is the one position that we pay for. We pay one person on our system, and she basically handles the phone calls during the day, and then works with all the different other social organizations.
She's
and
pretty busy.
She's very busy, and
Yeah.
that's why we pay for it, because I was trying to do that years ago and work.
I know. I don't know how you did it.
Well, and my husband said, because I just retired in August, and he said, how did you do this? Did you even work while you were at work? Because I'm working full-time doing the shelter, and I did used to work a lot when I got home at night, but I'm really excited about
But you
what's
worked all
happening.
day, and then you get home at night and you're working again.
Yeah, it just was what it was. It was, you
Yeah.
know, and working on the fundraisers and working on the grants that we've got. I mean, because I'm able to spend more time doing it, we're able to be doing more things, which is good. Yeah, really
The
good.
grants are getting better, doing better with the grants.
Yeah, we've got a few. We got Vermont Mutual supported us. That's an insurance company that Gaudette is
Yeah.
affiliated with. And we got the Unibank grant for the pilot program, which was fabulous. We got the Chenal 6 grant, which supports the case manager. And then we've got our little star in our crown is that we got the One Stop grant from the state, which is $125,000 to do a feasibility study.
Yes.
That's amazing.
And the state may use your model
Well,
elsewhere.
like I said, we had an organization in Worcester that came down and asked us if they could use it as a model for other towns in other areas. So like Shrewsbury, the Department of Health was looking into if they could do something. Northborough, you know, all the towns in like what you said, Metro West,
Yes.
are all considering it and wanted to know what it took to actually do what we do. So they did a white paper on that.
Yeah, because the homeless situation isn't just in the valley, it's all over.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, so Millbury's another pocket that has a very high homelessness issue. And we're talking to one of the churches up there for next season, because even though we have this shelter down here in Whitensville, and it serves, like we said, 159 people a month, people from Millbury who are homeless can't get down here.
Right.
You know, people from Millville can't get up here. So we have to start doing satellites. And so that's our next step, is to see if we can open up something in Millbury and get the volunteer force that we have down here going in that direction. Even if it's just the extremely cold nights, you know, it would be fabulous to have that.
Well, one thing you could use is some more volunteers, right?
I can always use more volunteers,
Yeah.
absolutely. And it's really easy if you go on our website. It's, you can see up there, it's Blackstone, it's bvemergencyshelter.org, and then just go volunteers. And you can pick, like we have all sorts of different needs. We have, you know, everything from fundraising, helping with the fundraiser, going around and finding raffle baskets and things like that, serving at the shelter. We have short-term needs where, you know, we're going to be working at the Chamber of Commerce, the Business Expo.
Yes.
We could use
Oh, you
volunteers
are.
for that,
Okay.
you know, so we have, we do a lot of outreach in the summertime, going all to the different festivals, just trying to tell people what we do.
Yeah, so you're gonna be at the expo.
Yeah, somebody
March
just,
14th.
we have a sponsor, somebody sponsored us.
Oh, that's
So,
great.
Yeah, so we get to go and share what we do down there. And we're giving away free Dunkin' Donuts coffee, so you might want to come and be with us.
And if you wanna be really nice, you can make a donation.
You can always make a donation, yep.
At the festival.
Yep, yeah, so that'll be fun. The expo will be a great place for us to teach more about what we do. And it's all about getting the word out.
You work with the food pantry as well?
We do very closely. One of the volunteers that works with me is also working, two people on my board actually work with the food pantry and volunteer down there. So, Yeah, and then the girl who's our homelessness navigator also works with the Grafton Food Pantry, so it's definitely a network of support.
It's
Yeah.
amazing, same people seem to do everything.
Well, like I said, there's a lot of people that are in the background doing a lot of stuff
Right.
to make this stuff work,
So the
so.
food pantry does a great job.
They do, they really do, yeah. And we'll see what happens with the new senior center and what happens with the food pantry and where that all goes, so. And there's also Piece of Bread for, they have their own food pantry that they give out
Yes.
on Wednesday nights. I work very closely with Lori and Mike there, and Peter Sabrin. He's a big integral part of that, Piece of Bread. And then a lot of our guests go there, they eat, and then they come over to the shelter. So it's a network of support.
So it gives them a place to have a meal
Mhm.
before they come to the shelter.
Yeah, sometimes they'll bring a to-go box in and eat it in front of other people, and we're like, you didn't bring enough for everybody. But it's all good, and then they also have, at St. Pat's, they have the John 21 breakfast. So our guys and girls will sleep over, and then in the morning they wake up and they get a nice warm breakfast, so.
That's very important because, especially this time of year.
Yeah, and we've worked it out. I'm not sure, but we used to have a system where they would get a gift card even to go to Peg's Diner. So
Oh.
after they left our shelter, they could go down to Peg's, get something to eat, breakfast, and then they could go and get a shower over at the Whiten Community Center. So we give them gift
Yeah.
cards, shower cards, a place to eat, and so hopefully you get out of the cold for at least until like 10 or 11.
It's important to really, to get something to eat, to be able to bathe. If you're gonna go for a job, you wanna look presentable.
Right. Well, that was, so I was talking about a woman who I talked to today who, from her situation, she's living out of her car. Just a bad health situation, medical bills, things like that. And so she was kind of running out of money. She only had so much money in benefits, and so she's putting $5, when she could, into her car and kind of watching the mileage until it went down to zero. And then she was picking up her kids at school and trying to be a good mom. The kids don't live with her, but she has to live in a car. And she's been through this whole frigid weather since December, living in her car. And just reached out to us today, only for the help to get her mass health benefits straightened out, because she doesn't have an address. If you don't have an address, they can't mail you the stuff, and
Right.
it's a spiral down to nothingness, right? So just being able to tell her we have all these little support modes, and you can come in and
I
get
just thought of
warm.
something. Where did she park her car with these snowstorms? You can't park anywhere.
I will tell you, people are very resourceful. They will figure it out.
Oh, it's
The,
amazing.
a lot of times the police departments kind of look the other way for certain people, certain ways.
Yeah.
Some people get permission to park their car in a certain spot, and they will stay there. Some people have a car that doesn't work, and that's, they just living in a car that doesn't work.
Yeah, it's just a roof over their head.
Yeah, yeah. At Walmart's very gracious about letting people stay with them on their parking lot, so. And that's kind of Walmart, I think, nationally, is that
Yes.
you can stay in a Walmart parking lot. And as long as you're not,
Well, Walmart has a program where they have, people have campers in their car.
yes.
When we had the public hearings on Walmart, we told them they couldn't do that here, because it would get out of hand. Because it does get wild after sometimes.
I've only seen like one or two trailers ever in any, so I just drove across the country with my daughter, and in the Walmart parking lots, I think we saw one or two trailers anywhere, It wasn't like there were tons,
Right.
but
No,
it's
in the
probably
su-
not the most.
In the summertime, with people with RVs
Mhm.
will camp, will stay overnight in a Walmart.
Yeah, I mean, why
It's
not?
convenient,
It's
and
safe.
you can
It's very safe.
resupply
Yeah,
and-
yeah. So there's lots of.
I gotta ask you now, you just went across the country.
I did.
Yeah, how'd you do with all that snow?
We didn't get any snow.
Oh, wow.
So my daughter took a job in California, and we were going across the country, and when we were planning the trip, which we didn't plan out really well, it was just like, okay, we're going. So we did a podcast, Two Blondes Going West, because we just kind of just went. Anyway, so we left Boston in a snowstorm. So it was snowing when we left,
okay.
January 1st. And we went down to Pennsylvania, then we drove down to Virginia where her apartment was. And then we got on what I call the 40. My friend Mr. Redden would laugh at me, but you get on the 40 and you just went west. So it's like 40, 80, 90. It's the
Yeah.
southern way. So we went
Oh.
on I-40 across.
But they got hammered.
Not with us, after, because I sent my
you got there
daughter.
before.
We got before. So we had great weather until we got to Arizona, which I couldn't believe. We went on Interstate 40, we went through Oklahoma City, we got into Arizona, and then we got off Interstate 40 and went south to through Arizona. The further south we got, the colder it got. And so we ended up waking up the next day in a snowstorm, and we left Arizona and we had to redo our trip because we were going to go up to St. George, Utah. But the pass to get up there, we would never have made it. So we ended up going down to Phoenix and then into California on that very southern route, and then got to come up the Pacific Coast Highway. So it was lovely. It was lovely.
We end up in Frisco or? San
We ended up
Francisco?
in, we came through Los Angeles, and then we went onto the coast, and then came up the coast until she's in San Luis Obispo, so she's in paradise is what I called it. She's just right on the water.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's still, California's having great weather.
Yeah, 77 degrees today.
Yes.
I said, I don't want to hear about it anymore.
That's quite an experience in itself.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm glad I got to do that. So.
Then you flew back.
I
Right?
flew back. Yes, I did. Yeah. But we got that experience of driving all day, and then
How many days did it take you?
I think we were 9 days in the car, and then
Wow.
I was gone 13 whole days, so 3 days out in California. So, but once we got to California, they were surfing. It was warm. It was,
Yeah, I know.
yeah, crazy.
If we have a nice winter here, California's getting
Slammed.
hammered
Yeah.
with rain and.
Yeah. So we're getting hammered, and they're having a lovely.
Yeah, they got it nice.
Yes. If only, and I always say that about people here, like, why would you be homeless in Massachusetts in the winter?
I know.
It's just the worst place to be because it's so cold. And especially, like I said, being out all day long.
I mean, yeah, why aren't you heading south?
I know.
Well, right now it's not much better, but.
I actually, a few years ago, I got was bus tickets, actually, for two of them. Two people said they had a sister in Florida. And I thought, okay, it's the beginning of winter, it's like end of November, it's already starting to get cold, let's get you down there. And so we paid for the 2 bus tickets to go down, and they came back, like in January. And I was like, what do you think?
Why would you come back in January?
That's what I
of all
said.
times?
Why
Oh
would
my
you come
God.
back? I don't have the answers, And it's really hard. I know that they like to be here because this is where their roots are.
The roots and their family.
I mean, a lot of these
and
people.
A lot of friends.
Yep. I was talking to Officer Brian today, and these people know people, so Officer Brian knows.
But I think I
these
could
people.
I would just stick it out for January and February at least, and then maybe come back in March or April.
If they could only, right? If you could hitchhike down to Florida and then stay
Yeah.
down there and come back, yeah. If only, but they don't
It was
have
like the movie Midnight Cowboy.
that was before me.
Oh, okay. But he does end up going from New York to Florida.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
If you remember the song, I can't think of it now. But anyway, yeah, the idea was to go to Florida because it's warm.
Right, yeah. I mean, if you're going to be homeless, you want to be homeless where it's warm and
Yeah.
not hot, but
Yeah.
So we have the emergency shelter in the wintertime, and we also have an emergency shelter in the summertime when the heat's so bad that that's the Village Congregational Church has opened up their church to that. So in the summertime when it's beastly hot, Pastor Ethan has opened up his church, which is air conditioned, and it's lovely, and they can just go in there and relax and be out of the heat. So
Yeah, because the heat can be bad too, and it can kill you.
yep, yeah, it's
But Do you have you heard of situations where we had homeless people freeze to death?
We personally, I have been in the shelter system where we have had people in Northbridge who have been in our shelter and have passed away, yeah. And one of the gentlemen,
Hypothermia.
well, the one that really always got me, the story that I tell, is that we had one gentleman, he was living out in the woods, would not come in. He did not want to come into the shelter at all. And he finally came in when it was one night, it was like -10 or something
You
terrible.
just couldn't take it anymore.
Couldn't take it anymore. So he came in and he paced a lot, like he could not lay down. He just, because he was used to being outside. So we were like, explain to us what it's like being out there, because I really can't understand how you can do this and
I
stay in the
know.
woods. And he didn't have, it wasn't like he had a furnace or a, something wood burning stove or anything. And he just said, I sleep for a couple hours and then I get up and then I walk, which is why he kept pacing. And he said, getting your blood circulating again, but you can't sleep a whole 8 hours because you'll freeze to death. So he said, you kind of know when it's time to wake up, and then you wake up and get moving and walk around, and then you can go back to sleep, try and sleep another hour and wake up.
Wow.
So while he was with us, he just kept saying, "Gosh, my hands really hurt," and his hands literally were thawing out because he was so used to the cold that coming inside, his fingers and everything were expanding in the heat. So by
Oh
2
my
o'clock, and normally I've heard that what you do is you just keep putting Vaseline on them to keep it so that they
Yeah, because
don't.
it's probably all cracking and,
They're cracking, but outside you're so cold it's not expanding.
yeah.
So by 2 o'clock he said, I have to go. I can't. It's too painful. I can't be inside. I've been out. And so he left. He went back out into the cold, into that wicked cold that night because it was too painful to be inside with us.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, those are things you just don't understand what it's like.
Right.
And a lot of these people are dealing with different medical issues, but then you throw the cold and the weather on top of that. So the lady that I was talking to today was dealing with lupus and, arthritis, right? Well, can you imagine waking up in a car with rheumatoid arthritis after being in 3-degree weather all night?
I know.
I mean,
the pain's got to be excruciating.
excruciating. So on top of the fact that you've got a bad condition, then you're dealing with that condition in the extreme cold. It's just not a good mixture. So we're doing what we can.
And like we said earlier, the thing is, that a lot of us are just a paycheck away from that.
Yeah, the people that's what we were saying is, so we've seen a lot of different people than normal that we've had in the shelter in the past. So we've talked about, we have that group of people that are chronic, that have mental health issues, have addiction issues, don't really want to get out of their situation, aren't willing to give up whatever they're addicted to. There's lots of support if they would. That's the one thing. So they've decided that they're going to stay in that situation. And I beat them up every night going, what do you think? Like, come on. There's some really great programs that we could get you into. But that's their choice, and I have to respect that. Then we have people that are in an emergency situation. So they're like, a house burns down, they're, something like that. So they need an emergency shelter, which is what we're there for as well. And then the third group of people are people who just had a bad situation, family had a tragedy and they just got left behind, or, somebody decided to move and they didn't want to move, so they're left behind. And they really are willing to work really hard to get out of this situation. And that's what we have a new pilot program that we're doing, where we can help those people get stable, get out of survival mode, and then basically work towards getting out of homelessness.
Yeah,
And,
that's great.
But we've seen a lot of those people this year. So we've had a few people through our pilot program who we've gotten from homelessness to a home. Success.
That's got to be a great feeling.
Oh, it is. It really is. And just to be able to help somebody and have them appreciate what you're doing, because those little things, like just giving them a gift card to get into a store so they're a customer and not just, loitering. There's a big difference, and you can't stay in a restaurant if you're just loitering. But if you have a
No,
gift card, you're
Yeah,
a
if you
customer.
got, you're buying something.
Yeah.
Plus, it gives them a little something some nourishment.
Well, they get something to eat, not a lot, but it's just, like I said, we're trying to make them a customer. They can charge their phone. It's a
Right.
big deal, because their phones are
Get
their
to use the
lifelines.
bathrooms.
Use the bathrooms and be there for an hour or two to warm up and
Yeah.
just kind of hang out. So, yeah, it's really, so the gift card program that we do, it's we ask for people to just donate a $5 gift card to any local restaurant or place like that, McDonald's.
Oh,
Dunkin'
okay, so
Donuts.
when they're in McDonald's, they can ask for a $5.
$5 gift
card.
card, yep, and that's all we need is $5 gift cards.
Do most of the places in town have gift cards like that?
Yeah, so even Pegs, we do the gift card with Pegs. The Subway, I think Subway, you can't really buy anything for under $10, but Subway, you can do it. And we have, on our website too, we also have an Amazon wish list, and you can actually buy gift cards on Amazon that will help us, sell
Oh, okay,
$10
on your
gift cards.
website?
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And whatever we need at the time, so for example, right now, I think we have the hand warmers and foot warmers, so we need
Yes.
those. We need hospital grade blankets, because all those, they have to be cotton, they have to be washable, because we wash them every night, and so those we needed. We did have other things that we needed, but we took them down because people were so generous. It was like Christmas at my house every day. My husband would be like, "What are all these boxes?" So one of the things, it was an interesting story. So one of the guys that coordinates the shelter said to me one day, goes, "We could really use some bottled water." And I said, "Oh, okay." And he's like, "Can we put that up on the Amazon wish list?" And I said, "Well, how much water do you want?" And he's like, "Well, we need, we can use water." And I'm like, "Okay." So I put it up on the Amazon. We got boxes and boxes of water that was delivered to my home.
No kidding.
And we have pictures of it on our Facebook
Oh,
page if you want to go see. We stuffed the other coordinator's little car full of boxes and cases of water, and people were so generous, and we can't thank you
People
enough.
just bought the water for you by
Yeah.
putting it on your wish list.
Yeah,
I'll be darned.
it's really amazing. Yeah, it's a wonderful.
We're gonna talk
thing.
about your thrift store too.
Okay, we'll talk about hopes.
Yeah,
Yes.
before we run out of time.
I don't want to run out of time. So one of the things, the story that happened with the thrift, it's called Hope's Thrift Closet, but it was an idea that my friend and I were at a board meeting, and I was just kind of saying, gosh, we have these 2 fundraisers we do a year. We get the Festival of Trees, and then we raise some money, and then we have our tasting, and then that goes away. So we have to budget around these 2 big fundraisers, and we don't make a ton of money, but we make some money enough
Right.
to make things work. So I said, but it would really be nice to just have this consistent income, that you just don't have to worry about what you're making and what you have. And she's like, well, what are you thinking? And I said, well, I'm thinking a thrift shop. And she's like, oh, I could do that. And I went, what? And she took it and ran. So they've opened up Hope's Thrift Closet. It's right in the back of the Episcopal Church, right next to the town common in Whitensville.
Yes.
There's a shed in the back so that you can actually drop off your donations. They go through the shed, I think every day they go through and open up all those bags and figure out what's really good for the thrift shop. And then the thrift shop is open on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And they're blowing it out of the water. We had this this marketing plan that we had put together that said, if we could make $1,000 a month through the thrift shop, that would be really awesome. It would help pay for the salary that we have to pay, and it would help pay for different things we have. She's doing 5 times that. It's just amazing.
It's amazing.
And really limited hours, but people love what they have. They have a lovely Facebook page. It's Hope's Thrift Closet on Facebook, and you can see what she's putting up. She has messages all the time, like, "Oh, I love that purse. I want that purse. Hold that for me," And
Okay, so you can go on the Facebook site.
yeah,
and
they
see
can't
what's
actually buy
available.
it, but they can ask, ask
can
her
see
to
what's
hold it.
available.
Yeah. So Christine Johnson's running it with her sister, and Sue Vandersite was the one that got the Episcopal Church to agree to, they just gave us that education building. So the Episcopal Church has been amazing. St. Pat's has been amazing. St. Peter's has been amazing. I mean, Ethan's church, the
That's a
village
good-sized
congregation.
building in the back.
It is, it's 6
So it's a
rooms, I
good-sized
think.
store then.
It is, it really is. They have great stuff. The front room is all high-end designer stuff, because we're
no
getting.
kidding.
Yeah, it's really, I'm telling you, if you wanna go see some cool stuff, go down there. And it's, the prices, you'll look at it and go, wait, I can't, I need to pay you 5 times that, this is too cheap. Yeah, so, yeah, I think I went down one time and I bought like a bunch of polo shirts, and they were like $2 a piece, but they were all like, high-end name brand, yeah.
Ralph Lauren.
All that kind of stuff, yeah. I told you, I got my, so, when they first opened, I went down and they had a Kate Spade bag. And I'm like, this is like a $200 bag. And they're like, yeah, well, pay what's on it. And I'm like, I'll pay you 3 times that much. It's so valuable. And they just, they're getting really great people donating great things, and it's all working. It's just all
Yeah, a
going to
lot
the
of
shelter.
stuff is probably estates, right?
Some estates, I mean,
Some
a lot of people have a lot of stuff,
Yeah, and they're not using it anymore.
not using it, so.
Taking up space for nothing.
Yep, so if you just, whether it's one bag or you want to clean out a whole closet or whatever it is, you stick it in a bag, put it behind the church. There's a shed. It's an
Yeah.
Amish, it's a really nice shed. You can put your stuff in there. They'll go through it and they'll sell it. And it's really, the people who need it are going to the shelter, or to the Hopes as well. So you've got people who really could use nice clothing for
Yes.
interviews and things like that. And then we also have anybody that's a guest at the shelter, they get a voucher to go down, and we've been able to give them brand-new coats. We just got this wonderful lady from St. Mary's in Uxbridge just found, I don't know where they came from, but like, I think she donated 20 new flannel shirts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so those are gonna go to the shelter. The guys are gonna, or girls, or whoever needs it can pick through those, and then the rest will go to Hopes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's.
Yeah, 'cause you can't imagine going through the winter without a coat.
Well, like I said, the lady today, I said, what do you need? And she goes, well, I could use a coat and some boots. Could you imagine? You're living in your car and you don't have a coat.
I
or
know.
boots. It's really
Oh,
sorry.
my God.
Yeah, so anyway, we do what we can do, and we've got a lot of different things that are going on. So let's see, we got the gift card program, we got the Hope's Thrift Closet, we do Hope bags. So we put together what we used to call survival bags, but it's basically space blankets, socks, hats, mittens, things that you would need, like if you got wet or cold. And then, it also has water and some granola bars and things like that. And all the police stations. So we have 8 different communities that we support, and every police station has Hope bags, and then they also have gift cards to hand out to people if they need it. So,
Oh,
yeah, and they're all partners with us. We have a police partnership program. So 8 different communities, 8 different police departments, and we all work together and are trying to support these people the best we
I
can.
imagine the police have more interaction with the homeless than
They do.
you
They
do,
do.
because they're out there all the time.
Yeah, like I said, Officer Brian, I talked to him today, and he stopped by the shelter the other night just to check in on how things were going. And he's a great liaison. So he's not there to be, authority figure. He's more like, how can we help you get out of this situation? Which is really unique for a police department,
Yes.
I think our police department's really superior to anybody else's, so, except for Uxbridge. They're very supportive too, so, all 8 of them, I shouldn't put
Yeah,
that.
'cause people, they think of the homeless, these aren't drug addicts.
Some
alcoholics.
are.
Some are, but a lot of part, they're just people that just fell on the rocks.
Yeah, and we've had 3 or 4 families this year, so that's been very unique. We've had a young couple with a 2-month-old. We had a single mother with 3 kids, a 1-year-old, 8-year-old, and 13-year-old. I mean, and she was without a car.
Oh, my God.
So she's got bags that she's schlepping around along with a child.
They're walking around on the street like that.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. We had another family that just got placed over at St. Luke's Guest House, which was lovely. It was a mom, a dad, and a 1-year-old. And they had been with us for a few weeks trying to figure things out and get what they needed to get into the next step. And so St. Luke's Guest House is what we want to do next in our town, which is a place where a family like that could go and have a secure, safe place to live and figure out what they need to do next to get into their own home.
So you need to look for a place to do that?
We need to look for a place. That's what the feasibility study is all about, so that the town will hire a consultant who will take a look at what, we can support financially, and then what the town and the zoning and all that stuff is.
You know, Habitat for Humanity is gonna be building a house.
I know, they gave them that lot, they're gonna redo that.
Yeah, maybe, and they may do a duplex. But, you know, that might be something to look at for,
Something like that. That's what the consultant's gonna do with the feasibility study, to figure
Yeah.
out, like, should we just lease a building? Should we rent a building? Should we buy a building? What should we do, and what's the best option? And the zoning is the biggest thing too. So having a temporary guest house can only be done in certain places in town.
yes, I know, but,
So we have to work with
and
that.
we don't have use variances, so,
Yeah, so I'm just, like I said, that's way beyond me, and the state and
Yeah.
the town's gonna figure that out, and I'll just take whatever they figure out and run with it. So, you know, and we'll just see where we go next. I just walk through open doors. Whatever door opens, I walk through. So if it's not supposed to happen, it shuts me right off.
how did you get into this?
Well, I don't know if we shared that story. So it was 9 years ago. I was at my son's football game at Northbridge, and it was one of those really cold October nights where it felt like it was January,
Yes.
you know. And I was freezing, and don't tell Coach Losh, but I was hoping they would just hurry up and lose. You know, just let's
Don't
get out of
go
here,
home.
just go home. But they didn't. They won, which was great. My son was the kicker, and he was doing a great job. But I got in the car, and I was complaining because the car was cold. You know, like hurry
Yes.
up and warm up. And so I was doing a lot of complaining that night. But I started down Linwood Avenue and made the turn up Hill Street, and I happened to look over at the community center into the gazebo, and I looked over there and I could see the outline of a person, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm complaining about being outside with boots and hats and gloves and a car and going home to my nice warm house, and there's somebody that's out there now and is going to be out there all night. That's crazy. So I had this moment. I usually say God doesn't really talk to me, but at that moment, all I heard was, take the next step. And I thought, no. I said, I'm not a social worker. I'm not into anything like this. I have my 3 kids. I have a business. I don't have time to be doing something like that. And I just kept hearing that all the way up Hill Street, was just take the next step. So we fought all the way up Hill Street, me and God, and I pulled into my driveway and I said, all right, I will just make a phone call. That's what I agreed to. So the next morning I woke up and I called the Board of Health and I talked to Jeannie, who's a good friend of mine, and I said, so Jeannie, what would it take for somebody to help somebody who was homeless? I said, because we have a church and it's empty and warm, and I said, what would it take to do that? And she goes, well, that's so weird that you're calling me. I just got an email from the state on how to open up a temporary emergency shelter from the cold. And I was like, oh gosh, okay. So here we go. And that was the beginning of it. I kept walking through
Lord works
doors.
in mysterious ways.
Oh, he got me good. He got me with a frying pan
Yeah.
right there.
But everything fell right into place.
It did.
It was divine intervention.
Well, just being able to see that it was a woman actually that had been coming to Piece of Bread, who I knew of, and I had heard rumors that she was outside, but I didn't really believe it till I saw it. And then we were able to open up, the Presbyterian Church opened up first, and then St. Pat's, and then Pleasant Street, and then Fairlawn. We had 4 churches that were opening up. Each one had 35 nights. So between all of them,
So
we
you
had
moved them from one to
140
the other.
nights. We moved people around. And I saw her, it was probably 3 months later down a Piece of Bread. And she just came up and hugged me. And I was like, what? She goes, I got a home. I'm in a home. And that was like, okay, this is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to help people. And that's our motto, is we just help somebody
The
hope.
thing is, if they're on the street like that, the chances of getting home are getting slimmer and slimmer.
You can't think if you're in survival mode. You really can't think. You just, I mean, we had somebody who, if they could get it's really simple. If you get an identification, you can get mass health. How do you get identification?
Yeah, how do you get an identification? You have no address.
Bingo. So, you can go up to the Worcester Sheriff's Department. We work with people. We get them up to the Sheriff's Department. They will help people get an ID. They will help them get that. If they get the ID, then you can go to Milford Hospital, and the social workers there will help you get mass health. But you have to have all these things, So that's why we call it a navigator, because you have to be smart enough to navigate the system.
Yeah.
And you have to know the system well enough and who to call to get help. And so that's why we hired a homelessness navigator, because you need to be an expert in the system.
You need to know how to do it.
You do, and if you don't know it, you end up, you're in this circle of phone calls
Yeah.
and people going like this.
Yeah, you got to know where to call and when to call.
Right. So, and the when even, like I was talking to, I got, I can't remember, the housing guy in Boston, and he referred me to another, it's another one of these, trying to get the 52 nights lifted. And it's not us, it's another board, another thing. And look on our website, and then you go on the website, there's nothing there, and so you have to have lots of patience. And again, if you're in survival mode, you don't have it. You're just worried about where am I going to eat and sleep
Well,
tonight.
dealing with government can be a real nightmare.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you're right, because everybody delegates the authority to somebody else.
Well, that's why I said there's a lot of pointing the other
Yeah.
direction. Like, we don't do that. You have to go there, and then you get there, and they don't do that. They point you over there. So you have to be persistent, and sometimes I can be a pit bull when it comes to that stuff.
And we're talking, these people you're helping, they're all American citizens.
Yes. These we don't ask about anything. We just ask you to come in. But these are all our friends and neighbors in the area.
Yeah.
Yeah, people that have grown up in Northbridge.
My point is that, at one point there, we were taking care of illegal immigrants, putting them up, giving them checks and everything else. And we got our own people that we got to take care of.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing, and we're doing it, and it's working. And we have some success stories that are really fun to share with people.
Yeah.
We had a gentleman who was in our system 2 years ago, and he really just came around and said, I'm done with this, being homeless. And he had been kicked out of his house and, separated from his wife. And, you can go really far down when you're not really. Anyway, he got back up, got a job, stopped drinking, got his wife back, got his home back. And so now he's actually on our volunteer staff, right?
Oh, wow.
And he says the only, the thing that was really cool about you guys is that you never judged me, you just supported me.
Yep.
And, sooner or later, we're there. It's like, it's a yay, right?
He's a great volunteer, he's experienced.
Yeah, and we had another volunteer, she had been, so this is a very emotional story for me because I had a lady who volunteered to be a phone volunteer. We have phone volunteers that are on the phone every night, 4 to 9. And they rotate, everybody has a night, and then they do weekends. So I've set 5 or 6 volunteers that do that. And so she volunteered. I went over to her house. We're showing her how to use the phone, blah, 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 chit-chatting around. And so after about 25 minutes, she said to me, "You don't remember me, do you?" And I said, "I'm sorry, I don't." And she said, "Well, you probably wouldn't. You didn't really see me." And I said, "Tell me what you're talking about." And she said, "You and I talked on Christmas Eve one night." And she said, "You put me up at the Red Roof Inn. And you said you weren't going to let me stay outside on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day." And so she said the Christmas Eve was the first night of her first step in sobriety. And she got into a halfway house, and she was able to work her way out of it. And then a year and a half later, she's volunteering. She said, "I want to be a part of the group that helped me out." And I was like, oh my gosh, you don't even know what you're doing when you do this. You don't know who you're helping or what. I mean, I was just answering the phones. I had volunteered to do it on Christmas Eve so people didn't have to be answering the phones. I didn't have a clue, and but it seemed to be the right thing to do. Like, if you're homeless and you're out on the street, it's Christmas
Yes.
Eve, you should not be out there. And it was enough to make her stop, so it was great.
But before we go, we gotta get, you have a wine and beer
Oh, our
tasting.
fundraiser, yeah, let's talk about
Big
that.
fundraiser
Big
coming up.
fundraiser. We would love it if people would join us. It's on March 7th. It's called the Blackstone Valley Tasting Event. And we are going to be having 10 vendors coming to the event. So we have wineries, breweries, and distilleries all coming to give you a taste of what they do. Local people that are running their own businesses are coming. We also have a chocolatier and hopefully some people that are doing their own desserts from restaurants. So it's on March 7th at Blissful Meadows. It's $40 for a ticket. You get more than $40 in value to come and be a part of it. And everything that we raise goes strictly to supporting the homeless in the valley. And this is our 21st year of doing the fundraiser. So it's been in process for a long, long time. It's a really big event. We have live auction items, we have a trip that we're giving away, and we have
Oh,
a
wow.
chance to go down to Nashville. You can do $50 for a chance to go to Nashville and win a trip for, I think it's 6 people you get in a studio for the long weekend. So that's a
For
cool
6
thing.
people?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, so you
Yeah, and
can go on with your friends.
yeah, for $50, I said, everybody of your 6, each one of you buy a ticket.
Yeah.
And then we have another trip that we're doing down to Mexico. That'll be for a couple. That's going to be in the live auction. We have this amazing golf package. So we have foursomes from all over the different golfing
Well, you
facilities.
put together quite the trips.
I know. It's a lot of work. That's why
Yeah.
I can't work anymore. I had to retire.
How do you have time to do all this?
Yeah, so we have like a foursome from Blissful. We're hoping Blackstone National. We've got hopefully the White Golf Club. So we have all these local
Yeah.
clubs, and if they all donate the foursome, that package is going to be worth about $3,000
Oh, yeah.
at least. So that if you're a golfer, you want to come and get in on that auction. And lots of other cool things. The Blackstone Valley Tech School just donated 2 beautiful Adirondack chairs. And
Oh.
Koopmans is looking at either giving us a Yeti or a fire pit to go along with that. So that'll be a nice
Oh,
thing.
wow.
And we also, if you can't come to the event, which we'd love to have you be with us, but if you can't come, we are going to have an online auction. So there's going to be a
Oh.
mobile auction as well. So there'll be some packages that you can bid on even if you can't join us. So you just go on our website and kind of follow along on the
Okay,
Facebook. bvemergencyshelter.org.
.org, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so
And you can make a donation there as well.
you can. We have it set up so you can give to something in particular. So if you want to donate to the gift card program or transportation, you can do that. Or if you just want to do a general donation, you can do that as well, so.
Oh, and everything you donate is tax deductible. No, it's a big factor. This is tax season right now.
Yes, it is. I haven't even looked at that yet. We're not going there till after the event. So it's $40 a ticket. We really would love people to come and join us. It starts at 7. We're going to have this is new this year, we're having a VIP time. So from 6 to 7 for any of the big sponsors that are sponsoring us, they're going to have private tasting time, and then they're going to get presents and get some time, alone with us and the board and get to learn a little bit more about what we do. So it's quite the event.
Yes,
So.
March 7th.
March 7th,
It'll
7
be a
o'clock.
nice day, nice
It's going to be
night.
beautiful. There's not going to be any snow, no rain, no ice.
You take the Chocowog Road exit off of 146.
Yep, and it's right there. And it's a
Yeah.
beautiful location. Blissful is gorgeous.
Yes, it is.
Gorgeous in the winter, gorgeous in the summer.
Yeah, I think it was a silver mine there or.
Oh, really? I didn't know about that.
Something like that, yeah.
Oh, I'll have to ask Mark about that at Blissful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have like I said, the foursomes for all the golfing. We did get a donation from the Patriots, but they donated a football.
Oh,
And we got a tour for the sports museum next to the Celtics, where the Celtics play. We got
okay. At the
sports.
garden.
Yeah, so you can tour the garden for 10 people. They'll do up to 10 people in a tour, so we got that. We've got some
Wow, you got some
Boston
great-
duck tours, that you could do. Yeah, We've been working really hard. We
Is
have a
it
great
an
team.
autograph football?
It is. Don't ask me.
And
who
it could be a super,
Oh,
number
it could be a
7.
Super Bowl football. If we
Yeah.
win, it might be worth some
Yeah.
money.
Yeah, it would be.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah. So
Even if, as long as you got May's autograph on there.
I gotta figure out who. It's not him. I don't know who it is. I'm bad.
Yeah.
I do like the Patriots, but I can't tell
Yeah.
you. I can't tell you.
But his auto, if he wins, he's one of the youngest quarterbacks
Yeah,
ever
he's
in the Super
adorable.
Bowl.
Yeah, that'll be good. So that'll be
Yeah.
fun to watch this weekend as well.
Yes.
So I'll have to find out who's actually on the signature, but yeah, so we've got lots of fun stuff. It's going to be a great evening. Our raffles are, usually the raffle baskets are always outstanding. You know, last time I think we had up to 50 raffle baskets.
Wow.
I know, so, you know, everybody kind of wins when you come if you
Yeah.
buy the raffle tickets. And then the chance is new, and then, yeah, we're going to have a little bit of a program. I'm not going to talk a lot, but I'm going to tell people what the shelter does and why it's so important to support us, so.
Well, it is. I mean, and you're doing the Lord's work out there. There's no two ways about it.
Well, I will tell you today when I got off the phone with the lady I was talking to, and she was in tears every time I offered her another small gift of what we could do for her. She was crying, and then she didn't know that I could hear her as she hung up, and all I could hear was, God, thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you. She just couldn't stop talking and crying through it. And that was when I lost it, because I'm like, okay, this is what we do. This is what we do, is we answer people's prayers and help them hope, you know, just give them some hope.
Just think of if you hadn't done it, these people would be.
I wouldn't even think about that. That's
I
not
know.
an option. It wasn't an option back then. There was no no. I was not allowed to say no. There was no no allowed. So,
This
yeah.
is great, though. Really, I think you're doing such a great service.
Well, and I'm really excited about the pilot program, because that's kind of the
Yes.
next step where we can actually say, like, that young couple that had the 2-month-old, they were like our first or second real people that went through the pilot program. And it works. It works, you know, so you can take somebody from homelessness to hope and get them into a home.
And you know you're doing the right thing because they come back and work for you.
Yeah, yeah, they
So,
come back, which is
yeah.
great. We love it.
It makes a
Yeah,
big
they're good
difference.
people. Everybody has everybody in the shelter, guests, volunteers, everybody, they have the most prettiest hearts. Their
Yeah.
hearts are just, I mean, just last weekend we decided we were going to open during the day. We'd never really done that before, but it was just so cold. Who could be outside Saturday?
Oh.
So we opened it up, and then we didn't realize it, but the St. Pat's was having a quilt seminar. So there were like
Oh.
100 ladies in the big, all talking about quilts, and all of our guests are in one small little room together. They're all reading, watching their phones. They're together like a little neighborhood.
Yeah.
They're getting along. Like it's beautiful. It really is.
It is. And they all share the same problem.
They do. They're in it together. Same boat, different oars is what I say. Yeah.
And it's easier to face the problem as a group.
It is, you know, and they're doing it different ways. Yeah.
Well, Leslie, thank you for coming in.
Thank you again for having me. It's good to be here with you.
Yeah.
My
And
pleasure.
We'll have to have you back again.
You'll see what's going on next.
Yes.
Next in the saga, right? What's next in the
We got
chapter?
1 minute here. You still in the cleaning business?
Nope.
All
I'm
done
out.
with that?
All done with that. No,
Oh.
just doing the shelter's full time. I'm done with everything else. So
Oh. Well, like I said, you're doing a lot of work out here.
thank you very much. I'm hands and feet. He's in charge. Tell me what you need me to do.
All right. See you next week.